Hello and welcome everyone, Lionheart here with the second battle in the Team Dignitas Total War Room 2 Invitational third place playoff between Llewellyn and Agony Panda Warrior. Make sure you have a look in the description for the playlist where you can find all the battles for the third place playoff and the upcoming final. These are all Twitch battle exports and you'll be hearing both myself, Gamer Dudestar and Indie Pride all commentating on the tournament. So without further ado, away we go with the second battle. Okay, right, well we've just loaded into battle, and this is the second round of this match between Panda Warrior and Llewellyn. So, as I said, Panda Warrior needs to win this one to beat Llewellyn here. You need to get back into the game. So, run us down through the build of Panda Warrior.
Alright, so Panda Warrior is playing as Tylus here. As expected, he has relied on the Tribal Warriors unit. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those, so he's brought the max allowed. And then he has some Celtic Warriors. These are really good low tier units. He got 2 units of Gallo-Thracians. Gallo-Thracians are actually a really good choice against Galatia, because what they do is they sit neatly below Galatian Legionaries, but slightly above Galatian Swords. So they're a unit that can kill the lower end of your opponent, but not quite tangle with the elites. And then he's done something that I've seen a lot in this tournament, and as of late in general, which is bring the Thracian Warriors. Thracian Warriors, I'd like to think of them as like, glass cannons. They have really low melee defense, really low armor, really low hit points, but then they rock 46 melee attack and 45 melee damage. And look at the swords they've got. Do you see these guys?
They are awesome. I've actually
two-handed.
I've done an Adresian Let's Play recently, and they are awesome. But
yeah,
they are awful once engaged. They need to get that charge, and they need to be, you need to be followed up. They need to flank, or they need to be supported by heavy infantry. Okay.
Yeah, they can't lead the charge totally.
So
there's also a Celtic Skirmisher, a Levy Freeman, and 3 units of Raiding Horsemen. This is a pretty standard Tylus build. Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, we'll just have a quick look over at Galatia by Llewellyn. So he's got his noble horses, his general, and then on each flank he has a mercenary Cappadocian cavalry. Seen this a fair bit in the tournament so far. And then he has in his kind of front rank Levy Freeman, supported by Galatian swords, and then Galatian legionaries, which, as you commented on previously, they're pretty capable, solid infantry. More Galatian swords and a couple of mercenary Syrian archers. It's going to make quite an interesting build for Galatia, and we already have some movement over on that right flank.
Yeah, here come the Raiding Horsemen. These guys are absolutely devastating. Like, look at their stats. Just so good. They got insane melee stats. Well, not really that insane. Galatia actually has access to better Jav Cav. Surprised that we haven't seen any of them here today. It looks like the Galatian player, Llewellyn, has kind of opted for the mercenary Syrians. Which are a decent answer if you don't have that many cav. And again, it's not too surprising. Both players are going for something pretty standard. And I think I would do something the same here, Lionheart, because like when you're at this point in the game and there's money on the line, you just want to play safe.
Yeah, no, definitely. Oh, he's gone for a charge into the Levy Freeman. What's going on there?
Well, Levy Freemen are good units when they come into the support of a pinned down cav unit, but this just shows you Panda Warrior's knowledge of the game. He knows that the Raiding Horsemen are strong enough to be able to just knock out 15 men of a Levy Freeman that's on the move, and he's done that. Javelins, followed up by a charge. Even if it's a spear unit that's not braced, it will lose men.
That was very... I was thinking that was very ballsy of him to go for that against spears, but as you've explained, he managed to knock them down and get them out of there, and he used his knowledge of both units very effectively. So that's kind of cancelled out the action over on that flank for a moment, and Llewellyn is just bringing up his main line now, as is Panda Warrior. They're slowly marching into the centre, and I'll just throw things up to the tactical map view as they move in. So are there any units on either side which you think players need to be aware of?
Well, you can see that the Panda Warrior has lined up his tribal warriors with an Oswan general as a front line. Most players will tend to use their weaker infantry to blunt charges on the Galatian units, but it looks like Panda's going to go for the approach of, okay, I'm going to have a really strong center, and I'm going to use my flanks to kind of try and surround that center. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Llewellyn coming forward, and then Panda Warrior trying to micro around like batches of units. So he'll form several lines here, and then try to get into gaps and try to support. But again, it's easier said than done against a player who can reach the finals and a player who's playing with such a huge line. This is a big part of the meta now. You can see lines are very wide. It's very hard for you to flank them, and when they pivot, they give you huge distances for your units to do the flanking. So we'll see how long these lines remain intact before portions of them start kind of splitting off to engage. But so far, both players being pretty passive and letting their skirmishers do the first openers for this battle.
Yeah, we're now seeing Panda Warrior actually pulling back a little bit, readjusting his line, but still keep harassing on that flank with his raiding horsemen against the Levy Freeman.
I'm not sure if that's the best of choices. I mean, Levy Freeman are a decent unit when you have cav units of your own, like a noble horse or two as Tylus, but he doesn't have that, and he's kind of wasting his ammo against them. I would definitely be saving them maybe for the Cappadocians, but I guess he wants to clear the flank protecting capabilities that these levies have. They can stretch out really thinly, and they can hold that flank. So instead of having to flank only this short distance, you're all of a sudden forced to go all the way around that. And that can make the difference in a battle like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite different from... obviously, I stick to single player pretty much, but... you know, seeing these long lines, what dangers does that run into? Obviously, you said they can pivot quite easily, but surely that means that if a unit can punch through in a big block, it wrecks the center of the unit.
Yeah, it's more susceptible to big cav charges. Like if you have an Eastern Cataphract that sees let's say this Levy Freeman, even though it's a spear unit with decent bonus versus large, actually really good bonus versus large, the Cataphract will just do a charge. It'll knock every single man down, kill most of them, do lots of damage, and then just plow right through. But in this type of environment, again, you don't have big shock cav units that have lots of punching power. You have units like this Cappadocian cav, units like the Noble Horse, which players haven't brought today. Oh, there's one Noble Horse here for Llewellyn. They're good for grinding. They're good for kind of blunting charges of opponents, but there's no real disadvantage of thinning out your lines like this.
So we have movement in the center now because Llewellyn's brought up his Syrian archers along with Levy Freeman. He's supporting with the Galatian swords, and in response, Panda Warrior is pushing forward with tribal warriors. This is really adjusting the battle lines now in the center, and there's a big push with again those raiding horsemen on the right flank.
Yeah, again, they're trying to just deny that flanking denial. And look at this, 2 units of riding horsemen charging 1 unit of Levy Freeman, and they're going to do so much damage here.
We have Noble Horse in the center. We've got Llewellyn charging with his general against tribal warriors, supported with his infantry. And he's actually trying to pull them back before Panda Warrior can throw in the rest of his tribal warriors. And then up on that right flank, we've got those raiding horsemen.
That is the kind of the charge blunt I was telling you about. You kind of stop the charge from your with your melee cav, and then you bring in your own units. Nice charge on your opponent. But you can see here the fight is going to start. The Galatian swords stand no chance against the tribal warriors here. But once these Galatian legionaries get into that fight, they're going to start doing some serious damage. The same thing happening on the other side. Tribal warriors literally being 2v1'd. Galatian legionaries. It's going to be looking tough for Tylus here. That's trying to find nice positions to engage. I think it was smart to come around the flank, but I think Llewellyn saw a weakness here and here.
Yeah, no, definitely in the center. He's pushing very hard there. Although, as you mentioned, Panda Warrior is pushing on that right flank, and he's got his raiding cavalry still there, and he's charged in with 2 Gallo-Thracian infantry units to try and break the Galatian swords on that right flank.
Look at this. The Noble Horse of Llewellyn actually ran through the line, is going to try to do some rear charges, but it lost so much men to that Levy Freeman.
Yeah, they're getting taken down.
Jav volley. Yeah. He's
going to have to watch out that he doesn't get pinned down there if he's not careful. That is his general's unit. He doesn't want to lose that while he's so far behind kind of enemy lines, although he's managing to pull pull out with a unit of Cappadocian cavalry, potentially charge back on in. He has been going after the Celtic skirmishers very aggressively in the centre, but Panda Warrior has thrown in the Levy Freeman, but I don't think he's thrown them in enough, and yet Llewellyn is able to escape.
So it's looking good for Tylus on this flank over here. Looking so good here, and it's looking really well here. The center, though, is really Galatia's powerhouse right now. But Tylus is doing such a good job with all these raiding horsemen.
He's nearly taking down his general. Llewellyn's going to lose his general if he's not careful.
Yeah. That move by Llewellyn, where he rushed his general forward to get rid of one Celtic skirmisher, was a huge mistake.
Yeah, he's going to pay for that one now. His general's routed. I don't think he's died, but he's routed there. There we go.
GG.
GG.
GG's called, yeah.
So
once you lose your general on these kind of armies that are not disciplined, you just can't stay in the fight anymore. This is not Rome. And Panda Warrior, like, just look at the kills on these raiding horsemen right here. 179.57. And yeah, a lot of them were against levies, but towards the end there, he was charging high value targets and really making the difference. The Cappadocians doing a good job for Galatia. But overall, the tribal warriors actually stood really strong. The Galatian legionaries were not able to do the damage because I think we saw almost everywhere they were being 2v1 by Tylus here.
Yeah, he managed to pull that away around very quickly, because I mean we were starting to worry that Tylus was getting into trouble, and then you know, he managed to push on through. He kept the general bogged down even when he tried to escape. Finished him off with his skirmishes there, and as you said, he was 2v1ing across the line against Galatia.
Yeah, I think Galatia would have been better off not bringing the Levy Freeman, but again, you can see the metagaming happening here. Panda Warrior. It's very common for Tylus to bring one or two noble horse. Instead, he pulled the noble horse out. He added a Celtic skirmisher. He added one Levy Freeman. He added 2 Thracian warriors, and he added some Gallo-Thracian infantry. 3 of those, supported by 3 Celtic warriors. He gave himself the infantry advantage that the 12 Galatian units from Galatia usually has. The 6 Galatian legionaries, 6 Galatian swords. So if you actually look at these infantry lines, they're really balanced, and the support tools were definitely in line for Tylus. The Thracian warriors doing such a good job with the Levy Freeman, and look at the Gallo-Thracian infantry here. 142 kills, 115 kills, 30 on the other one. Really good trading for them. So really well played by Panda Warrior. That was a well-deserved victory.
Yeah, so he now draws it 1-1, and it's down to one final round to see who's going to get 3rd place.
Absolutely.
So going through this, I mean, what do you think of the? I mean, I wasn't able to follow them through all that, but did you see what happened to the Thracian warriors during that? Because I know we talked about them before the battle kicked off, with obviously their insane charge bonus and obviously attack damage, but relatively low defense stats.
Yeah. They were supporting on the right flank with the raiding horsemen, and I think that big push on the right from Tylus was a really smart idea. I think Panda Warrior knew that you can't really advance against Galatia pound for pound and win. So attacking from the flank and kind of forcing, as I said in the beginning, your opponent to dissect his army into mini lines, and that allows you to do 2v1s really well, and that gives your cav lots of surface area to do rear charges and to come in and throw javelins. That's exactly what Panda Warrior did. That was a brilliant display of just a modular army. His army was so modular there. Really good.
Yeah, it was really good to see how he was able to turn that around, because you know, we were worried about Tylus going up against Galatia there and the legionaries.
Definitely.
This it's the final matchup for these two. Only one can come away with 3rd place in this tournament from this. So I guess really, you know, pull out all the stops of this. They've really both got to go hard, and the winner gets £100 prize money, or $155. So all to play for now. So that was the 2nd battle in the Team Dignitas Total War Rome 2 tournament, 3rd place playoff. I hope you enjoyed. The next and final battle in the 3rd place playoff, it's a best of 3. will be uploaded tomorrow for you guys to check out, or if you're watching this in the future, then you can just look in the description for the playlist where I will have linked all of the battles for both the matchup for 3rd place and the grand final between Agony Duck and Baylor of Agartha. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of these battles coming up for the Team Dignitas Total War Rome 2 Invitational Battle Exports. Until next time, ciao for now.